So you've got your period, you're feeling bloated, you're feeling crampy, you're feeling annoyed, and you most of all don't want to move, nor do you want to do any exercise. I suffer with stage 4 endometriosis, which means that when I get my period every month, I'm completely shook by it. I'm in extreme cramps. I have bloating. I have unpredictable digestion. It's just a bit of a mess in every possible way that I can think of. But I'll tell you one thing. One thing has massively helped me, and it's not any kind of drugs, it's not any kind of herbs, it isn't any kind of magic doctor, it's my yoga practice. So what I want you to know is that today I'm going to take you through 9 poses that are fantastic to do if you suffer with period pain or any kind of PMS symptoms. My name's Megan Bradley and I run Yoga with Megan. This is a channel that is specifically designed to empower, inspire, and connect women, both with their bodies and their minds. So if you want to alleviate some of those period pains and some of those PMS symptoms, then I want you to grab a bolster, some blocks. And if you don't have a bolster, you can use a couple of pillows or a rolled up blanket. And then you're gonna meet me on your yoga mat and we're just gonna take it nice and slow and see if over the next sort of 15 minutes or so, we can start to feel a bit better in our bodies and a bit better for the rest of the day. So welcome to your mat, guys. If you need your hot water bottle, make sure you've got it. You want to have some kind of bolster. And if you don't have a bolster, something like a rolled up duvet or a couple of pillows will work completely fine. So you're gonna grab your bolster or your other set of props that are gonna act like that. And you're going to chuck that bolster in between your legs. And you're just gonna sit kind of straddling that bolster. And this is a really nice kind of way to relieve some of that pressure. And you're just gonna let your hands rest on your thighs. If you want, you can let them rest in your lap, but it feels quite comfortable to me to have my hands here. And then just bring your eyes to close, let your chin slightly drop, and I really want you to let your belly go. Okay? Don't feel like you need to hold the belly in at all. I want you to know that I empathize with every single feeling that you have when it comes to menstrual pain, menstrual discomfort. I have felt and been through it all. And I can hand on heart say that my pain and pain management has become so much better since I started a regular yoga practice. And I feel honored to share this with you and that you would spend this time with me. And I want you to not give yourself a hard time if any of these poses become too much. You know, pause the video, take a break, come back to it, even if you only do one posture. And so we're just going to start by taking some really nice deep breaths. Just breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1, out 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in 4, 3, 2, 1, out 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep breathing. You want to elongate the exhale here. And this is just going to stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system to help calm and relax you. I know that when my pain's really bad, I sort of tense everything up in my body. And at the end of my period, it just feels like I've been through the wars. So just let the shoulders drop. Let the knees be heavy, let the tops of the feet be heavy. Don't worry about anything else. And I just want you to choose one small little intention. An intention is kind of a goal or something that you're going to carry through the class. It might be that you're going to stay with this breathing pattern. It might be that you are going to work to feel better in your body. It might be to feel less in pain. But I want you to just think of an intention now. And kind of carry it in your heart. And then gently flutter the eyes open. You're going to move your bolster or your blanket out from between the legs. Keep it nice and close. And we're going to come into a wide leg child's pose. So just making these transitions really smooth, really slow, really juicy. So you bring the big toes together. Take the knees as wide as you'd like. So you can do this two ways. You can just simply come down into your child's pose and let the head come down. But if you want to take it even more restoratively, you can grab that bolster, that blanket, and sort of allow your body to wrap around it. Head coming down onto the mat. So once you find your child's pose position, let the belly go. And this is so important. Really, really, really let that belly go. When it's that time of the month you're trying, your whole body is sort of working to expel and to shed. And what we don't want to be doing here is tensing things up and kind of stopping that moving. Okay? In Chinese medicine, this is called qi, and you want to keep everything moving, and if there's a blockage, then this qi can't flow. And if you do suffer with endometriosis, like myself, then you do suffer with these blockages, with this sort of stagnated energy, stagnated blood. So just let the shoulders drop, let the hips drop, let the feet drop. And again, just focusing on those nice, slow exhales. And just releasing everything, not holding on to anything that you don't need. And if you do have a cramp come up into the body, then breathe through it. I think one of the things, or one of the reasons why yoga has helped me so much with my endometriosis and my intense cramping is because I know how to breathe through things now. And I come into my yoga pranayama practice so often when my pain gets really bad. So just know that that's there for you, those deep, deep, long exhales. And then gently start to bring yourself back up. And you're going to tip onto one bum cheek or the other. And we're going to come into Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose. So in this posture, if you feel like when you bring the heels in, you feel like you're tipping back, then feel free to sit on your block, on your bolster or block or anything else that's handy. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. And you're going to try and get them nice and close to the pelvis, but that just might not feel good. So feel free to take more of a passive Baddha Konasana, so the feet are coming a little bit further forwards. If you have the length of the arms and the flexibility, grab your feet and open up the feet like a book. Otherwise, just grab hold of the ankles. That's totally fine as well. Let your elbows rest into those thighs. Let the shoulders come away from the ears, and I want you to slightly tuck your chin. So I'll show you from the side. What we don't want to be doing here is jutting that chin forward. So instead, slightly tuck it and elongate. So we want to keep our spine relatively straight. We want to be pushing into those knees and hinging from those hips. And as you hinge from the hips, just watch that you don't jut that chin. Keep the chin slightly tucked. And this is a really nice release for the inner groin, for those hip flexors. It lengthens that spine out. When we're really uncomfortable, we kind of curl into that fetal position, and we can stay like that. And it sort of feels like we're sort of 80-year-old women by the end. So just work on right now in this butterfly pose, just kind of really lengthening out the spine, being proud of your body, and just letting those knees drop. And if you are really tight, you can always take blocks or pillows underneath the knees as well. Nice. And if you want to keep the eyes closed, you're going to rise up. You're going to slide the feet out. Feet stay connected, but you're more of a diamond shape now with the legs. And then you're going to thread the arms under or flop them over top, and you're going to round the whole back. And this is just a really nice release for, again, the groin, the hips, but also the back as you're rounding here. So just take 5 breaths, inhaling, just lengthening out. And as you exhale, just seeing if you can come a little bit further. And don't worry about what your poses look like here, guys. This is really about sensation, and it's just about breathing. It's about working through some of this pain, some of this discomfort, getting the body moving. There's no right or wrong right now, okay? So don't give yourself a hard time. Just breathe and move through the poses. And the next time you inhale, just slowly, slowly, slowly rise your way up. Nice. We're gonna stay on the bum. We're gonna come into another hip and groin opener. We're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So depending on your own flexibility and mobility, it will be, how wide those legs are. If you're feeling kind of okay in your body, you might take those legs wider. You might shuffle the butt forwards and get that opening a lot more active. So we're going to take this in a passive way, more of a yin yoga stretch, which means that the feet are going to be floppy, okay? You might see teachers teach this with the legs engaged. This targets muscle tissue, but we want to target some of that connective tissue and mostly that fascia, so that web that wraps around the body that might be just kind of sending all these signals of pain throughout the body. So with those legs wide, take the hands onto the mat. Once the hands are on the mat, lift the back so you've got a nice straight spine, and then just start to hinge forwards. We're going to stay really upright in the spine, so I'll show you from the side. You just stay where you are. So we want to have that spine nice and straight. Again, not jutting that chin forwards, keeping it slightly tucked, rather than, again, rounding. So just nice, straight spine. Imagine that your bum's on a conveyor belt moving behind you. Inhaling to find that length and exhaling. And really finding that breath here. And the next time you exhale, you're just gonna round the back, okay? So your head might come onto the floor, your elbows might rest down. Just let yourself flop. And also don't worry if you're up here, if this feels as far as you can flop, okay? It doesn't matter. Just let everything go. Sensation over that destination. You might even give your head a little sway from side to side, if that feels good. Like a puppet that's been cut from its puppeteer, just slowly start to stack the spine, bringing that head back up. And you're going to take your hands underneath your knees. Good. Rebending those knees. And let's just take the hands onto the floor behind us and take a little windshield wipe. It's just a nice way to get that blood flowing and get those muscles moving. Nice. From here, you're going to cross your ankles. Hands on the floor. Don't worry if you need to transition in a different way. And you're going to make your way into your downward dog. And we're not going to stay here for ages. A lot of people don't like doing inversions when they're on their period. So we're going to lift our right leg up to the sky. And then we're going to bring that knee behind the right wrist. So we're coming into pigeon. Shuffle the toes towards the left and then slide the left toe back. Drop the knee and untuck the toe. Nice. From here, if you're really tight, you can take a block under your right butt cheek. And we're going to stay up high in our pigeon today, but you can let the head go. So just driving a little bit more weight into the pelvic area. And this pressure can sometimes feel really good. We're working into those deep hip flexors, that psoas muscle that connects at the lower back. And I know for myself, when my period's really bad, when my endo's really bad, I get tons of lower back pain. this is a lot as well from the fact that my ovaries are stuck together behind my uterus with endometriomas. So, you know, if you are somebody who suffers with endometriosis, or fibroids or fibromyalgia, like all of this stuff, PCOS, it just can wreak ravage on our body. And I want you to know that you can gain this control back. And you might see that I'm kind of oscillating from side to side. When my period's really bad, this kind of movement feels really good. I know that sometimes I can make the people around me feel a little bit seasick, but it's just this slight movement that helps me to work through these cramps, okay? I've not had a baby, but when I hear people talk about having those contractions, it sounds a lot like what I feel when my endo is really bad, and this kind of movement really helps. So feel free to do anything like this when you come into poses. We're just gonna stay here for about another 5 breaths. And if you do feel more comfortable coming down into that sort of reclined pigeon where you bring yourself down, then feel free to do that. I'm just keeping us upright today to kind of get that gravity headed down, getting all of that energy headed down and helping with that movement. From here, guys, you're gonna tuck your left toe, raise your left knee, push the floor away, make your way into that downward dog, maybe a little pedal through those feet, especially if you're feeling quite numb in that right leg. And then we're gonna lift that left leg up to the sky, bring that knee behind the left wrist, shuffling the toes to the right, slide right knee back, dropping the knee, untucking the toe. And again, we're gonna walk those hands in. So trying to keep that weight quite equal. Let the belly go, okay? I don't care, I'm on camera, my belly's totally soft. You might take a block under your left butt cheek. And if your hands don't reach the floor, feel free to take blocks under them as well. You can let the chin drop. And if it felt good on the other side to just kind of oscillate from side to side, then feel free to do that here. You might also play around with exhaling out of the mouth. I find that this really helps, especially if, you know, you're dealing with an intense cramp or some dull aching pain. Just focus your attention there, and every exhale, just let it go. And another 5 breaths here. Just noticing how this feels. Nice. And instead of coming into downward dog again, I want you to just tip over onto your left butt cheek. I'm gonna sweep your right leg around and we're gonna come straight onto our backs, okay? So, however it feels good, come to lie down. And you're gonna come into a pose called knees to chest, or some people call this wind relieving pose. You're just gonna take a knee in each hand and you're gently going to rock from side to side. So for those of you who suffer with lower back pain, this is a nice little massage. Okay, we're just starting with a really subtle movement. And then we're gonna start to draw some circles with our knees. You choose the direction first. And it's up to you how intense you want to take these circles. They could be really small, okay? So that your spine doesn't even really move that much. Or if it feels good, you can lift the tailbone a little bit off the mat so that you're kind of moving all of those internal organs around, giving them a little massage. Do 2 more this way. And then switch it up. 2 more the other way. And just know that you can do any of these poses. They don't need to be a sequence, okay? You can do any of these postures at any time and take as much time as you want with them. Good. And then from here, we're gonna take a really nice supine twist. So if you've got the space, arms come long. If you don't, just bend the elbows. feet stay off the floor, and you're just gonna start to drop your knees to the right. Now don't worry if your knees don't come all the way down. Let your left ear soften to your left shoulder. And every exhale, just see if you can release a little bit more. Again, supine twist, really nice one for any back stuff you've got going on. What we tend to do when we have our period is we don't really move and we clench everything up. And what we want to encourage is this movement in our muscles, in our energy, literally in that sort of flow. So we use our breath and our yoga practice to help with this. Squeeze those knees back to center and then slowly drop them over to the other side. Let your right ear soften to your right shoulder, knees over to the left. Just notice any differences with how you're feeling. If this is really intense, okay, you can slide the knees further down, so that's less intense, especially if maybe the creasing in the belly or the squishing in the belly doesn't feel good. Slide the knees away from you. If it's okay, then try to get those knees in line with your belly button. Squeeze those knees back to center. Just grab a hold of the knees, cross the ankles. You're just going to roll yourself up. It might not be as smooth as that. Maybe you'll need a few rocks and rolls. And we're going to take a really nice, juicy reclined Shavasana. So you're just going to grab your bolster or your rolled up duvet, your blankets, your pillows, whatever it is. Bolster comes behind you, and then you're going to shuffle your bum against that bolster. I'm going to start with my feet bent. I'm going to bring my hands onto the mat and I'm slowly going to drop down. Now, if you don't have this range of spinal mobility, then I recommend putting a couple of blocks or a couple of pillows under that bolster so it's raised up, okay? So that you're more on an angle. But if it's okay, then come on into this pose. Now, there's a few options. Your feet can stay exactly like they are, or you can come into that reclined butterfly pose. So we did this earlier where we sat up nice and straight and the knees out wide. And on this one, the knees are flopping down. You're in this supported position, and then you're going to bring the hands by the sides of the body. Palms turn to face up. Let the back of the head rest. And we're just going to take 5 guided breaths together, and then you're going to drop away into your Shavasana. So breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1, out 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in 4, out 7. One foot and then the other onto the mat, and maybe just take a gentle sway with those knees from side to side, just bringing a little bit of motion into the hips, and then using the tummy muscles or the hands, bringing yourself up nice and slowly into a seated position, keeping those eyes closed if you can. Taking the hands onto the knees, sitting upright, let the belly go. And I want you to just scan and check in, noticing any small or subtle changes in your body, in your mind, or in your breath. And then gently flutter the eyes open. Well done, guys. Hope you're feeling better. Namaste.